Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tiger Eye. We've got a great episode for you this week. If you can vote, don't forget tomorrow is Election Day. Fields of Faith is happening today on the football field, so make sure to check it out. And seniors, make sure you check our counseling website and look for scholarships. All students, make sure to go to yearbookforever.com and get your yearbook now while it's cheapest. Ashanti this week is checking in with some of our staff to give their insight on the college journey that most of our seniors are currently participating in. Max is sharing some information about our election, and I went on a little road trip to find out more about the Livermush craze. But first, let's give it to Ashanti.
This past week here at Ford, we had our College Week applications. Many students came and participated in this with the help of our counselors. For Mrs. Miller, she had tons of experience with the College Week process. During Tiger Time, she was a big help to many of our students. For Mrs. Miller, she shares with us her opinion and how you can manage college.
You have extracurriculars, you could do intramurals, you could do fraternity or sorority life, you could do different like faith-based organizations on campus. So you have the sense of independence because you're away from home, but you really have to kind of put yourself out there and just like what we say here, you get out of it what you put into it.
With our counselors and our teachers helping throughout the week, students got to hear about many different colleges and got to apply to many different ones. For Mrs. Cooley, she shares her opinion with us on how she feels about college.
You know, if you're not really sure, go to a community college and get your gen eds out of the way because you're going to have to take those regardless of what school you go to. Community college can be closer to home. The classes are usually easily transferable, and it's much more economical.
College is a great way to learn your responsibilities and helping you decide on what you want to do with your life. Heather?
Thanks, Ashanti. Seniors, it's super important to get all college stuff done. It's also super important to do your research before voting in this year's election, especially for all of our first-time voters at Ford.
You remember the days when we used to kick in the doors and drag the drug dealers out and grab their drugs and burn them up in a furnace and take the drug dealers and throw them in jail? Yep. Those days have been replaced now. Now the drug dealers are coming to your house, kicking in your doors and throwing the drugs inside your house. Yes. We got to reverse that.
It's election season in America, so all over the country, candidates are meeting with voters to earn their votes. One of these candidates is current Lieutenant Governor and Republican candidate for governor, Mark Robinson. I went to an event he held at Naganos and Conovers to speak to him, and he explained the importance of making sure young people are involved and have opportunities.
It's so important for elected officials to involve young people in the process. If you go back and you look through history, many of our greatest inventions came from young people. Young people have great expansive minds. They're open to anything. We need to harness that energy and make sure that these young people have the tools that they need to be successful.
Some argue that in order to secure the best possible future, young people need to vote. When I spoke to Democrat Wesley Harris, who is currently a member of the North Carolina House of Representatives and is running to be the state treasurer, he said this about why he claims young people's involvement in politics is so important for our country.
They need to be active today because it's decisions that are made today that is going to impact what our world looks like, what our country looks like 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And so if you want to play a role in that and you want to have some control over your own destiny in terms of what our government's going to look like, you need to be involved. And you need to show up and vote, because if you don't vote and you're not involved, the politicians will not listen to you.
One person who is involved is Ford senior Reagan Wilson, who also felt it was important for her and other young people to vote.
I think it's something that everybody should do if they're able. I think especially in North Carolina, our vote really matters because we are kind of a swing state. So I think it's really good for everybody to go out and cast their vote because, I mean, it's our right as the American people.
According to census data, overall voting among young people is up. Gen Z's voter turnout in 2022 was higher than that of Gen Xers and Millennials when they were in the 18 to 24 voting bloc. As you can see here, 28.4% of Gen Z voted in 2022. Looking back to the 1990 election, only 23.5% of Gen Xers voted. And 23% of millennials voted in the 2006 election. But not all young people are voting. When I asked Ford senior Marcus Zong about why he isn't voting in this election, he had this to say.
I feel like my knowledge of politics is not good enough, so I feel like I shouldn't vote. I feel like it should be decided to people who are more knowledgeable in that field.
Regardless of whether every eligible voter decides to go to the ballot box and vote, one thing is for sure. Whoever wins will have to govern all people in the state.
I'm going to be a governor for everybody, not just those who voted for me, but everybody.
We got to ensure that there's opportunity in the state. I think both sides kind of understand those values of making sure there's opportunity. We just kind of fundamentally disagree in a lot of ways of how to make sure we ensure that opportunity.
Tomorrow is Election Day, which is the Super Bowl of civics. So be sure to gather some friends, get some dip ready, and enjoy democracy in action. To watch Mark Robinson and Wesley Harris's full interviews and Mark Robinson's full speech, go to our YouTube channel at Ford Pubs.
Thanks, Max, and happy voting season to everyone casting ballots this year. This week, I'm sharing my first ever experience at the Livermush Festival in Shelby.
I had to make some business decisions here pretty soon, though.
Whenever people talk about Livermush, you either hear terrific or terrible. I'm in Cleveland County right now for the Livermush Festival to ask some who are here what makes Livermush so great.
It's hard to explain. I mean, you could say, you might take Livermush, you might want to put it in your rice. It might taste different when it being on your bread. You know, you might want to take Livermush and put mayonnaise on it. I mean, it's so many variety of things you can do with it.
For many, when deciding whether they like Livermush or don't like Livermush, the defining factor is texture.
I think it's a texture thing. Like, it's a really gross texture to me. It's pretty grainy.
I like it and I like the texture. It's usually like a little bit crispy and it's really good.
Margaret Bean grew up eating Livermush, but sees why some might shy away from adding it to a meal.
Probably because I know what's in it. You know, it's, I've heard a lot of stuff is what's in it, but I don't know.
Robert Sutton has enjoyed Livermush for a long time and continues to enjoy it in many meals even today.
I was raised on Livermush. Everything about Livermush is in our daily living, pertaining to our dietary. So, I can go on and on pertaining to why I like Livermush or why we love Livermush. So, it's just good food.
I don't know, it just tastes good.
Well, that's all for this episode. We hope everyone has a great week. Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll see you the next.